try to waste no time. We'll catch up if we can. And I'd like to introduce you to this next part of the morning session, Sean Noon, who is the Managing Director of Superior Electronic Lighting Controllers from the County Mayo, who sounds the Wild West. And let's hope it stays up in wild and natural, etc. But he'll tell you how to achieve that with intelligent lighting. There you are.
Thank you. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests and distinguished speakers. I'm delighted to be here in this beautiful city. In fact, when you get over 50 years of age, you're delighted to be anywhere on this planet. And I was walking around this lovely city last night, and yesterday I was at the Institute of Lighting Engineers conference in Bournemouth, and I was wondering what am I doing here? And I kept hearing this message, E.T., go home. This is not the place to be. But I'm very encouraged of the talks this morning and the information that I've heard. And I'm delighted to be able to give this talk and say that there's an answer to light pollution. The next big infrastructure play in this world, we've had the superhighway, is the smart grid. All our governments have met, discussed it, agreed it, and it's going to happen. And it's going to happen within a very short time, within the next 18 months. Already there's over 3 trillion committed to the smart grid. So what is the smart grid? The smart grid is the first large-scale manifestation of the near future. It will have the potential to reduce CO2 emissions by more than 40% on our streetlights. And that's good for you, because if we reduce energy, we definitely reduce sky glow. The initial focus will be by the governments of Europe and the US. Barack Obama is fully committed to it. There's a sizable team coming together to develop the smart grid, made up of some of our top companies, IBM, Cisco, and so on. The first pilot project is aimed to take place within the next few months and a major rollout within the next 18 months. We've completed our project in the city of Oslo. It's the first smart grid intelligent streetlight system. When I say smart grid, it has no radio devices. We may stop light pollution by using radio devices, but then we cause another pollution called electromagnetic radiation, which I do not like. Already in the city of Oslo, they're saving up to 70% on the streetlights by rolling out this intelligent streetlight system. We've just completed a major project in Milton Keynes, and similar results are coming to the fore. It will transform streetlight energy usage. It will maintain correct lighting levels depending on the traffic, on the pedestrian flow, and on the various weather patterns, using the internet over the power line through guided transmissions, and that's guided transmissions within the power cables themselves, all part of the future smart grid. So what we're doing is creating an end-to-end communication and control system for the street lighting grid and for whatever other demand-side applications. Because the most important asset going down the pavement is the electric cable. So the smart grid will be a dynamic system where we can distribute all types of information and intelligence. In a very short time, it is planned that every electrical gadget will be smart and intelligent, will be able to communicate with other gadgets. Already, as you know, NASA are developing smart robots to send to outer space and to send to other planets. So if we can send smart robots to outer space, we should definitely have smart gadgets and smart lighting. And if our lighting gets very smart and intelligent, then we'll be able to eliminate, maybe forever, this problem of sky glow. Because we only need lighting, as our other learned speakers stated, we only need lighting at the right level, at the right illumination, at the right time. So the Smart Grid Solution platform is going to connect into every single gadget and vehicle and whatever. So there'll be a total correlation between humans and the gadgets that we use to make our life easier and simpler and more enjoyable. So in our case, we're solely concentrating on the remote monitoring and control of all our road and street lights. You ask, why do we need street lights? Well, I think there's one real reason that we need street lights. It's to give us peace of mind and safety at night. I live in a small village on the west coast of Ireland. I was born in a lighthouse. So therefore I love two things, light and telescopes. Because I remember breaking my first telescope at the age of 4. And I can tell you my father was not too happy. Light gives us peace of mind. I don't think I'd be able to leave home if we didn't have light in our village, because my wife gets very scared of the dark. So the most important thing for us as human beings is to have peace of mind. And streetlights, no matter, they cause all these other problems that you spoke about this morning, but they bring us peace of mind, and that's very important. Then they help give us enhanced vision when we're driving, and I think that's very important as well. There's no question about it. It has helped. Road lighting has helped to reduce accidents on our motorways. And then they bring us security against vandalism and personal attack, an invitation to do business and socialise at night in towns and our cities. And again, they protect our assets. The problem is they consume a lot of our precious energy, a lot of manpower to maintain them, install them, and so on. Spare parts, large inventory has to be held by contractors and depots that maintains and service our streetlights. And then there's the administration involved in designing, maintaining. And then the problem of identifying faults and dealing with citizens' complaints. Without monitoring and control, take a city the size of Dublin with over 42,000 streetlights. There's 3 teams scouts the city every night, which just doesn't make sense. And if you're sitting by the telephone, there's on average anything up to 12 calls come in, on average per hour. Citizens complaining the light is off, or the light is switching on and off, or whatever. And then we have the vehicles, and these are special vehicles and very expensive for maintaining the street lights. And the big problem is, as we heard earlier, energy prices are increasing. And you can see the increases. In the United Kingdom, up 39% in the last 5 years, and so on. Finland, 42%. And streetlights are responsible for carbon emissions, more than we realise. In the United Kingdom, 1.9 million tonnes annually. All over the EU, 180 million tonnes annually. 10,000 streetlights emit 2,200 tonnes of CO2 into the atmosphere. And if we wanted to offset that carbon emission, we'd probably have to fill 5 or 6 Wembley stadiums with trees and wait for 20 years for them to grow. So we must do something about that. A few streetlight market facts. Street lighting consumes approximately 40% of the city's electrical energy, which is a lot. And the big problem is the cost of electrical energy is increasing. Over 3 million of the UK's street lights need replacing. And listening to the speakers at the Institution of Lighting Engineers annual conference this week, they're going to replace them with streetlights that's going to give off even more illumination. So there's more sky glow on the way if we don't do something about it. And there's another 3 million that's going to shortly exceed the design life. Lamps, well, they have a short life, but recently a new lamp has come on the market, and I think this lamp is going to be quite interesting because it has a life of 48,000 hours. It's a SON lamp, which means it's high pressure sodium, and its temperature, light level, its temperature is at the right temperature for our vision response. And it has 2 arc tubes, which means to say we can switch it off and switch it on instantaneously. Therefore, we can provide light using all means of vehicle and any type of movement sensor. The published data today from the EU tells us that over about 140 watts is the average power consumed by the 90 plus million streetlights all over the EU. And we know that the average burning hours is 4,000 hours. So you can see that there's a lot of pressure to switch them off. And if we could switch them off, wouldn't we save a lot of energy, reduce a lot of carbon, and satisfy all our astronomers? But we can't do that because we would affect the citizens' peace of mind. And that's really what our politicians are most concerned about, the peace of mind of the citizens. So, some years ago, the E-Street programme was established, which means that the EU itself has taken, at long last, a personal interest in street lighting, and more so intelligent street lighting. So the E-Street programme, which I'm a member of, we've got involved in contributing to all the standards and to the tender documents. So there's a major problem in the EU. The standards can be different in different countries, and we're trying to tie all that up. And then the tendering documents can be different because it's at that stage, it's the standards and tendering stage, is where the decisions are made to the amount of light that's going to be on the street and on the roads, and the amount of pollution of light that's going to be transmitted up into the atmosphere. And it's at that stage that we can make the decisions to save energy. Metering is coming into street lighting. Up until quite recently, there was no metering in street lighting. So you could pollute, you could do anything you wanted to really, and you didn't pay the price. But now, local authorities, municipalities are going to have to pay the price because the street light metering is being introduced within a pretty short time. And there's other problems with street lights. We want to see the end of the PCB and mercury problems. Street lights have power factor correction capacitors, which have very dangerous chemicals. And recently a survey was carried out as to what's happened to those power factor correction capacitors, and nobody seems to know. And then we have the mercury problem. And you have that problem in compact fluorescence as well. If a compact fluorescent was to fall and break here, we'd probably have to make sure everybody vacated the building. There's over 30 million, still over 30 million mercury streetlights in Europe, and something has to be done about that. And coming in to force in 2010 next year is the Energy Service Directive. So we work closely with the CIE Commission, and right now a worldwide consensus is evolving that we have to reduce electrical energy because of the global climate problem. So we want to make every use we can of smart technologies to do that. So it's a quite simple system what we've developed. If you take the city of Armagh, and we had installed in this city intelligent street lighting, you would see no difference to this on the street. It just looks exactly the same. before or after the installation of this equipment. It's quite simple to install, it's self-commissioning, and it's not that expensive when you consider what it's capable of doing. It starts off with the smart electronic ballast. We developed the first smart electronic ballast we did in the world over 8 years ago. And that's capable of dimming the lamp. It's capable of calculating the energy used by the lamp. It's capable of sending that information out to whatever source. Then we developed a source to get that information from the ballast, from the lamp, to the end user, which is the municipality. And we've done that with the help of an American corporation called Echelon, where we developed a system of communicating along the power lines. And over the years, that communication system has been adopted. And we're now at a situation where there's over 52 million communication nodes communicating to smart, intelligent devices in the world. 27 million of them are in Italy, where every fridge, eventually every street light, everything will be able to communicate with each other back to its makers and maintenance personnel. You'll see a combi node, item 1. Item 2, the software. The software will be able to calculate the energy used. The software will be able to calculate the carbon saved. And all of this software is developed into street maps, Google Maps, and so on. So we'll be able to pinpoint exactly where the problem streetlights are, or where, and the streetlights that we're saving energy on. So the heart of the system is what we call the Island Smart Server. So it provides real-world business insight into real time. It makes energy management very economical. We can use it for all kinds of retrofits. It ties existing equipment and networks together, bridges data and control networks, and it's all done using the power of lawnworks, local operating networks. And it's capable of managing, each island is capable of managing up to 100 streetlights. We can connect into this island illuminance meters, which we've done in Oslo. The illuminance meters can measure the light from our shops, the light from our cars, calculate all that light and reduce the artificial light, which is the street lights, in accordance with all the other artificial light that's in the particular area. We connect in movement detectors that detects the pedestrian flow. Therefore, we can dim the lights down to 50% if there's very little pedestrian movement on the street. Or in some cases, if there's no pedestrian movement on the street, switch them off. We can, with the illuminance meters, we can measure the reflectivity of the light from the surfaces. If it's above a certain threshold, we can dim the lights. We can measure the amount of precipitation in the atmosphere, and as precipitation increases or decreases, so will the light levels. So it's a very complete intelligent system. Therefore, you'll only have the correct amount of street for the activity that's going on the road or street at that particular time. No excess and no pollution. Recently, I flew over the city of Oslo, and the scheme is 10,000 streetlights, and from the air you could pick out the 10,000 streetlights quite clearly. It was the darkest part of the city, which was quite interesting and exciting. And the whole system works on the World Wide Web. So if you want to look at the stars, and let's say all of Armagh was connected into this system, you, the observers, could control the streetlights at will with the kind permission of the city municipality. So you can control that from your own laptop, mobile phone, BlackBerry or whatever, and you could dim down the streetlights to the level that you want to reduce the sky glow. That's what the technology is capable of doing. And it's all made possible because of what we call smart electronic ballast. Those streetlight lamps are quite complex because they're a plasma tube within them. That's what gives us the light. It's the action of electrons colliding with molecules of gas that gives us the light. That's why they're so efficient. But they're quite complex to drive, and they're quite complex to dim and so on. But we can do that now, and we can do that in such a way that we are able to not alone dim the lamps, but extend their life by over 50% by powering them the correct way. So that's the information that comes back from the system. We can remotely switch them on and off at will as we want to. We measure their power. We look at their voltages, how many hours they've been running, which helps us calculate the energy. And quite recently our system has been given the Lexon approval for the measurement of light energy. So it's now electricity meter as well. We can look at energy use since we installed the installation. We can, not alone can we know the lamp is faulty, it will 6 months in advance predict when the lamp is going to fade. We can check what kind of mains we have, brownouts, the power cycle since the last communication, and so on. And if the system fails, inbuilt into the Eilon is an astronomical position sensor. So it can take over and switch on and off the streetlights because it can know exactly where the sun's position is at any given time. So it's all very accurate, all very scientific. So power line communication you may not know too much about. It's controlled now by Synelec standards. Street lighting has been given its own band on the power line, band C. It's protocol protected. It's an open protocol, so therefore we can mount any type of smart, intelligent gadget onto the system. It's able to overcome all the hazards that's on the power line. It seeks out the best way back to the server. It's very efficient. We can use it in mixed distribution, residential, industrial, or whatever. And each streetlight node repeats to the next node and so on. So the system is very foolproof, very reliable, and it's easy to work with because the software is developed solely in cooperation with Google on Google Maps. So we can actually see the streetlights. We can measure the luminance from the streetlights. We can really work intelligently with the streetlights. And it's now being backed up soon by directives. So the E-Street program, yes, is concerned about energy, it's concerned about the carbon emission, and it's concerned about sky glow. We don't have any members on the E-Street panel representing the astronomers, and maybe after today we may have, and some of you may eventually get involved with the E-Street program because its main purpose is to develop a directive within a very short time to introduce into Europe intelligent street lighting. Because I see intelligent street lighting as the way forward. If something is intelligent, at least you can talk to it, you can communicate with it. It can see your point of view. We're already introducing directives to ban magnetic ballast out of street lighting, which is good news for us all and good news for you. Because if we leave them in street lighting, we're not going to be able to introduce the smart grid. So there may be soon money available to introduce into our world intelligent street lighting. But we have to be careful. We may get rid of one pollution, which is light pollution, and we may introduce electromagnetic pollution. And the dangers of electromagnetic pollution is every bit as dangerous as light pollution. So we've got to be quite careful. So that's why I'm working hard at trying to promote intelligent street lighting using the smart grid rather than using thousands and thousands of radio transmitters. Imagine the city of Dublin with 42,000 transmitters. It's bad enough to have the mobile phone transmitters. And the good news is that 6 companies, our company being one of them, are working on the eco street light. The optics are going to be smart. The optics are going to be intelligent, and the optics is going to do different things. Already we have received an enormous amount of funding from the EU, and within a very short time, not alone will you have intelligent street lighting, you'll have intelligent street lighting with intelligent optics, which I'm sure you will love. Greenhouse gas emission sources, I think you all know what they are. Energy is definitely the big player. So thank you very much. That's my short talk. I don't think there was any need for E.T. to rush home. I'm delighted I've come here. Maybe we can recruit somebody from this body to join us in the E Street programme. Maybe you can help to promote intelligent street lighting. Maybe you will have control of street lights. Maybe you will control street lights directly and be able to control them and work and reduce the problems that you've had over the history of street lighting in our world. Bearing in mind that we must provide lighting. We have to have lighting, but let's have intelligent lighting. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sean. It's a truism, isn't it, that light and pollution will not be solved by astronomers. It will be solved by lighting professionals. Obviously, they are the people with the expertise. And it's nice that there are clever people like Sean around who are leading the way. Thank you very much. Do you have any questions for Sean? Sir?
The electrical companies, what they are thinking about you making all those signals about their power line, because there's a lot of disagreement about the possibilities to do it.
I agree with you. That's why we have commenced talks to establish the power line directive. And I think if you Google it, you'll see the draft recommendations for the power line directive. The President has been said anyway, 27 million volts operating on the power line in Europe. Maybe those of you when you had babies, you remember the baby alarms, and they were communicating on power line. If now that Cinema has got involved and we've developed the standards, we've developed the bandwidth, a long time ago the company in Scotland started the first to introduce intelligent control, which was on a very broad band, and it caused an enormous amount of pollution. Every time we hang something on the moon, we cause a problem. So we have to be careful. But it's so well regulated and controlled now by Cinema. We all have our bands, and we don't know if you know where power line came from, or power line communication came from. It came from the military, because in a particular country in the world they wanted to know what every citizen was saying, that they could trust and what they were talking about. That's what we call intelligence service, the intelligence service. So they developed power line, so they could put a microphone into every electricity meter, because we knew that every electricity meter was into every home and office. Therefore, it could feel about what's going on. But be careful what you say at home with the electricity meter in your presence. There may be a microphone here. But we've gone away from that. And some bright scientists that work for Apple set up the Echelon Corporation, and they discovered what was going on in the box, the intelligence from the military. standard authorities that just like we have with radio transmitters, but we have bandwidth. So there's no bandwidth on the mains.
Yes. For whole Europe, yeah?
Correct.
Or the whole world?
For the whole world. And then they move into the as we move into the smart grid, that means to say that we'll be able to sell and buy it, that we control generators. And we're not going to see big generators in the future, we're going to see small generators. Because citizens will be generating energy, so we'll be able to control all that from the smart grid. So we're going to start to see electric cars already not own countries that are getting ready for developing the whole system for charging the car. So there'll be more and more information going down that bridge than ever before. So I know that electricity generators don't like it, but they've been at it for 65 years talking about subsidy. So I think you can hold back the time. It's not possible.
One more question.
I've been fascinated by what you said, but I'm a slavish advocate of listening to news programs, and this is totally new to me, and yet you were putting your data going back to 2004, 2005. Can I ask if you know why the media hasn't told the general public, myself included?
Because it's good news.
There was a tiny snippet about intelligent street lighting and Oslo on BBC News about a year ago. I know because they asked me to participate and I couldn't, but it was there somewhere, buried among all the bombs and deaths and floods and earthquakes.
I think if you're thinking of going into the conference, you can go on. It was all the talk. But there was no media there.
You are really talking about Oslo, Norway?
Also Norway.
They saved millions of they can't see what that means.
My colleague there was Eric Buchanan, and he's probably one of the former lighting engineers of his time in the world. And he started to work with about 8 years ago. And it took 4 years to convince the municipality to give him the money. And the good news is they've given him more money to do more. And now they can just install the system all over Oslo. So all of Oslo is street lighting. And all the other municipalities now want it as well. So it's beginning to spread. So like Foster's beer, give me all this stuff. So regardless of the media's help, it's starting to worm its way throughout the world.
Okay, we must move on. So I say thank you to Sean for A, keeping to time,